Welcome to Garden Wise Adventures. My name is Malie, and today it's a semi-beautiful day. It's still pretty cold out here, mid-February, and I have not been able to open my greenhouses since the end of December. It's been cold, they've been covered in snow. The snow is finally starting to melt, and today it's mid-30s, and I need to open them up and see if anything is still alive. We've hit single-degree temperatures. I'm in Utah Zone 7, so we've got to see if there's anything alive and water them. And I'm wondering if there might actually be something to harvest. So let's get my hoop houses open and see what's in there. Now before we look in this hoop house and see what wonderful things are in there, I want to link a video up on top and show you how I built these. Now these are just a do-it-yourself hoop house. I think I'm going to try and improve on them next year because they've actually been working beautifully. Now remember, I said I'm in Utah Zone 6/7. We've had single-degree temperatures this winter. They have not even been open, and let me show you what's inside this first one. Now in here we have some kale. A little bit worse for wear, some cabbages that have been slowly heading up, and some kohlrabi that could actually probably be harvested. And this is another patch of kale with some chiji-misai. These have not been watered for, since December, this middle of February. So I would say they're doing pretty good. Let's test the soil moisture and see what it feels like. It's actually still quite wet. It's been cold enough with this mulch of straw. I may water them a little bit, but I think they're doing pretty good. Let me get the other hoop house open and see what it looks like inside there. So look at these. The carrots have actually been growing. I have some carrots in here. We have some lettuce sprouting in the back. Can you believe that? Single-degree temperatures and we actually have stuff sprouting. The green onions are a little worse for wear. These were planted last summer. The cabbage, the kohlrabi is not as developed in this one. Got this one down here. And the chiji-misai is looking really good. Let me see how the carrots feel. Carrots don't feel really big. And what's interesting is the ground is not frozen in here. The ground is frozen solid everywhere else in on my property. The carrots are still pretty small, but I figure once it warms up, they're going to start taking off. Let's go down to my last hoop house and see what that looks like, and then I'll water everything. Now this hoop house is a little bit different. It's on the south side of my house, and it's a single layer that I've covered with this frost cloth. So we have the single layer of plastic and a frost cloth, and wow, look at this. These are a little more dry. We might need to water these, but we have a kohlrabi that I am going to harvest. Let's look at this closer before I harvest it. There's my chiji-misai. So a single layer of greenhouse plastic. There's the kohlrabi right there. Another kohlrabi right here. The cabbages seem to have suffered a little bit more. They seem a little dry. I'm going to be watering those. But wow, things have done really well in here. Let's uncover this and see what it looks like inside. We're getting a little bit of rot in here. But the inside of the cabbage looks okay. So I'm not exactly sure what to think about that one, but I'm going to water everything, harvest the kohlrabi. I think I'm going to harvest that cabbage right there because it has actually got a solid center, and see what we can do. So let's get watering. Now my hose bibs are frozen solid, so I am actually stuck with watering with this watering can. I'm going to give everything a good soak. I may have to refill this a couple of times to get everything. And tonight's weather is supposed to go back in the teens. So I think what we're going to have to do is just leave this open for a few hours so that it can get a little bit of air. You know, stop some of that rot maybe. And then we're going to have to close it back up. So let's see how hard this is to pull up. Oh my word, the roots on this is amazing. Don't want to take the soil with me. I don't want to take all these good roots. We'll let them continue to decompose. So here we go. I am pretty impressed. A mid-winter, mid-February harvest. Zone 6/7 in Utah for my outdoor gardens when everything around it is completely frozen solid. I really like how these hoop houses are working. I think the only thing I'm going to do to change them for next year is I'm actually going to glue the bases. I've never glued the bases, they're just loose. It's all made out of PVC pipe with PVC pipe connections on it. And they do seem to come apart. They do warp in the bed a little bit and stretch. And that pulls them apart. It obviously has not caused any problems with the vegetables staying warm, but it's just a little bit of annoyance. So I think next year I'm just going to glue those bases together because they store easily under my deck. The only reason I didn't glue them in the past was just, number one, I wanted to see if they were going to work and see if I could reuse the pieces if necessary. And I didn't think I'd be able to store them as easily under my deck. Now the other thing I did different this year is I started the seeds for these vegetables in August indoors. I put them under grow lights and then I let them get really big. I potted them up into actual gallon containers. And I'll link a video up here that shows when I planted them and show you a picture of what they look like on my shelves. I do have a lot of room indoors, so I was able to do this. Then I planted them outside in September because I wanted them to get a good few weeks of growth on them before it got too cold. Now the growth in the winter does slow down. It slows down mainly because of the day length and the temperature. And the past years, this is the best they've done, but in the past years what I've done is planted them with the expectation of a harvest early March, mid-March, which has worked beautifully because, once it starts warming up in the spring, they come out of their winter funk, and they start growing rapidly. So then I have a really early harvest and harvest those just in time to put the spring crops in. So I think it's worked really well. So I quickly wanted to show you the difference between the cabbages that I just harvested. So this is the one I just harvested next to the kohlrabi. Look at the size of those things. And these are cabbages I harvested last September. Maybe it was October. Now you can see this one's kind of getting gross, but this is what it looks like underneath all the grossness. This one is still perfectly fine. Cabbage can store a long time in the refrigerator. And I'm glad you're able to come along with me on this adventure. And I'd like to challenge you to try out winter growing in cold climates. It's really a lot of fun, and it really has done a lot to improve my mood and my attitude over the cold winter. So hopefully this video has been helpful to you. If it has been helpful, please like, subscribe, share some comments down below on what you've been growing over the winter, and go have a wonderful garden adventure.